Well, hello then, I do hope you're all well. Now, this is, as we all know, it's James O'Brien, and this was the morning after the hustings, I think, that was in Darlington. And it was about the time when our U-turn Liz Truss was having her interview, and she was asked a question by one of, obviously, a Tory member. Who's to blame for the demise of Boris Johnson? And somebody said in the audience, "Oh, the media." And then everybody else started clapping and applauding. Now, there was a moment to say, the moment of clarity and truth, to say, no, actually, the only person you can blame is Boris Johnson. But no, she realised, oh, it's a great opportunity to get some cheers and some more votes coming my way, and said, oh yes, I think it's the media's fault. It's your fault, Tom, for what's happened to our Boris Johnson. Well, James O'Brien had his own very unique take on it, and I think he's bang on the money. Well worth a listen.
It was the media's fault that multiple Conservative ministers resigned, multiple Conservative MPs submitted letters of no confidence in Boris Johnson, and the media's fault that Boris Johnson decided his position had become unsustainable. Now, what I want you to tell me, and we can do it like we always do it, either you tell me because you're one of the people shouting the media, you believe it, you mean it. It's the media's fault that Boris Johnson, who enjoyed supine and sycophantic support from pretty much every corner of Fleet Street and those elements of broadcast media that are permitted to have opinions, which automatically, of course, excludes the BBC. Which media are they talking about? What media are they talking about? Who are these people who think that the British media has been opposed to Boris Johnson? 2 weeks on the front page of the Daily Mail, Keir Starmer's entirely inoffensive and innocuous curry. 2 entire weeks it was there, while Boris Johnson's Downing Street was hosting more parties than Stringfellows. I mean, that might need a slight update for younger listeners. I don't know, Wayne Lineker was hosting more parties than Wayne Lineker. And that is apparently a media which has somehow done for Boris Johnson. So either you're one of these people and you're convinced that the media is actually to blame for the fact that multiple Conservative ministers resigned their positions and countless Conservative MPs submitted letters of no confidence, and Boris Johnson's closest advisors told him that the situation had become unsupportable. You think it was the media's fault. Give me a call and tell me who you mean. But what are you talking about? What are these institutions that wield such epic power and hold Boris Johnson in particular in such contempt? Because I should apply for a job there. I mean, that sounds like my kind of place, doesn't it? Who on earth are they talking about, these people in the crowd? 0345 6060 973. Gary in Halifax is on the same page as me. He writes, James, blaming the media is the British version of blaming the deep state. He then adds, I think ridiculously, I predict another brilliant show. And of course, as ever now, given the 52-48% split that still pervades the nation, it may be that we have to do it secondhand. So you know people like them in the crowd. And they say the media has done it's the media's fault that Boris Johnson has resigned as Prime Minister. I don't know anyone like that, I don't think. I just don't. I don't know anyone, and I'm not going to be rude. But who are they talking about? I don't know whether you say to them, who do you mean, Dad? Which media has I mean, you've got The Sun, you've got The Express, you've got The Telegraph, you've got Rupert Murdoch, so even when the Times does some grown-up journalism, you know that it's only being offered up largely as a sort of sop to the extremities of the Sun. You've got these weird new television stations. You've got most talk radio hosts, speech radio hosts. You've got entire stations dedicated to Brexit and Boris Johnson, but somehow the media was responsible for Boris Johnson's defenestration. You've got a denuded, cowardly BBC that's frightened of saying boo to a goose. Forced an apology out of Newsnight when Emily Maitlis made perfectly reasonable comments about the state of the coronavirus management. So it can't be the BBC that's done for Boris Johnson. They've got the BBC running scared. Nadine Dorries is threatening to close them down all the time. So who do you mean? What is this media that Liz Truss agrees was responsible for getting rid of Boris Johnson? Liz Truss, who sits in a cabinet from which many, many, many ministers actually and publicly resigned, thinks that somehow the media was pulling their strings? You see how ridiculous it is? 0345 6060 973. Maybe they're talking about what's Nish Kumar's show called that everyone gets their knickers in a twist about? But even that's been axed, hasn't it? So what is the media that they discuss? You know these people. I currently don't. So you can be my tour guide. I've just realised what this programme is now. This is where you come to take your virtual reality headset off every morning, isn't it? This is where you come. You put your virtual reality headset on. Oh, it's the media's fault that Boris Johnson has had to resign. And you take it off and you just go, whoa. No, it really isn't. Oh, of course is it. We leave the door open for the possibility that I'm missing some epic elephant in this particular room. What is the media that these people speak of? The media that got rid of Boris Johnson. Because if they're that big and that powerful, then, you know, next time my contract's up for renegotiation, I might see if they want to come in with a better offer.
Yeah, I was going to point, actually. So, I'd love to know which part of the media she's on about. Now, one of her first phone calls was Lassa was an hairdresser, and she talks about some of the customers she gets, and they are just seem to be absolutely tonto. But this just sums up the sort of person she is, because after she'd had this interview with, now apparently this guy was the political editor for the Sun, so he's done his bit to get you to vote for the face-eating party, and now he's roaring that the face-eating party is just eating his face. And after she'd done a bit where she's I think it's your fault, Tom, and when it all finished, she comes out with this pathetic line.
Thank you. Thanks very much. I'm sorry I was mean about the media, Tom.
It's cheap, and you know it.
Yes, sorry to be mean about the media and all that, but it's cheap and you know it. But end of the day, you've done your bit to get these people in a power, so I don't think you have much to moan about, Tom. And it kind of reminded me of the Dr. Martin Niemöller quote, you know, first they came for the trade unionists and the socialists, and right down to the point where then they came for me and there was nobody left to speak for me and all that nonsense. But yeah, when you hear that, it's quite hilarious to listen to, isn't it? Because she goes, I think you'll find that you're to blame, Tom, and just shows you what a lousy, opportunistic, shallow individual she is. But hey, she knows what her base is about then, doesn't she? And like that quote saying, what she lacks in intelligence, she makes up in ambition, doesn't she? But Lord, she's disgusting. And that woman's going to be our next Prime Minister. God help us. Right. Well, this video's gone on long enough, so I do hope you enjoy the video, and until the next time I shall bid you farewell and take care.